Jones. I'm with MLS Now, your MLS. I hear we have at least one new agent. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Have you already done the intro training?
Watch the video.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do today is, as much as we can cover in an hour, kind of talk about all of the member services that MLS offers, things that I know that not every agent is utilizing fully. Kind of talk briefly about what each one of those are. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer as we go through. Talk a little bit about inside the system, running some good searches, changes that have happened, rental beast, etc. So I'm just kind of going to get started on this main dashboard. So a lot of times when agents log in here, they just go right to CoreLogic Matrix and access the database. And that's fine. That's probably the 80% of the use cases. But I think what gets overlooked is we have a lot of good tools down here that have a lot of use for you. So just starting with, I'm going to guess you guys have used this realist before, the realist tax. Is everyone familiar with that? Okay. I won't launch into that too much. So just as a brief overview, that realist tax, that's our tax platform. So what that does is it aggregates data from county auditor sites, assessors websites, the US Census Bureau. So any information you want to get on any property in Ohio, whether it's been listed in the MLS or not, you're going to pull data from there. So owner information, sales history, square footage, acreage, style, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, etc. There are things in there like sell score indicators where you can have it run a report and tell you, okay, this house is likely to list based on mortgage history and sales in the area and how long the owner has been there, etc. So it's a good sort of lead generation tool in addition to it being a data aggregation. There's also something in here called Real AVM. That's the automated value metric. So if you have somebody who calls you, like let's say I call you and I want you to sell my house, and you have really no starting point to go on, you could come into Realist, type an address in, it would give you a Real AVM and the property details, and then there'd be a page that also would give you comps very quickly, very easily done with just typing in an address. All right, so that's not bad. And then when you get those reports, you can email and print those as well. Just real quick, just so that I'm being thorough and show you. So when we open this Realist platform, as I mentioned before, here you would just type an address in, 600 Crestview, and we're going to click search. It finds the property over here. And if I click on it and go to reports down at the bottom right, you're going to see the property details I was talking about. So owner name, location, all that good stuff, that likelihood to list score or likelihood to sell score, and then the Real AVM. So it has this property valued at 338. And then the next tab over is the comparables tab. So you're going to get a list of comps generated by the system, and then you can print or email that. Okay, so that's all done inside of Realist. Okay, next one over, I'm going to assume everyone's familiar with showing time. Okay, are there any questions in showing time? It's very basic, just in terms of when you enter a listing, people that find it, they can schedule a showing with your listing and vice versa. If you find someone else's listing and you have a buyer and you're trying to schedule a showing, you can do that through the showing time platform. You can turn that off if you don't want showing time to handle your showings. Obviously, there's a button to click in there that says allow agents to request appointments online, and you can check no for that. Okay, you can do that for each listing, or you can do that in your profile and turn it off for all your listings. All right, so that's an option that can be toggled on and off. Do you guys use .loop and or zip forms, the transactions? .loop, okay. For those of you that do not use it, if you need any of our forms, whether we have like addendums, residential purchase agreements, contingencies, all kinds of things in there that are generic templates that you can download and use as electronic signatures for a transaction, that's all done inside of .loop. That you also have, now I don't know what your office has set up. Some offices have paid for you to have the full .loop access where you get unlimited loops. Okay, that sounds like that's the case here. So then all of your electronic signatures you might need for a transaction can be stored inside of .loop or zip forms if you go that route. But what I want to show you is over in the top right-hand corner, that templates tab. That's where all of our MLS Now interactive documents are on the left-hand side. Now yours may look slightly different, but essentially it's going to be the same setup in terms of accessing our MLS Now interactive documents if you ever need anything in here. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to skip DocuSign. That's basically this, it's an electronic signature platform. Obviously, that's not one that you have any access to through us in terms of a discount or including your membership. So we offer the link to it there, but you still, if you choose to go that route, that's something that you or your office would have to pay for. And we certainly offer enough with the .loop and zip forms. I don't really know why that's even on our MLS Now quick links, but it's there. What I do want to talk about is eProperty Watch. Does anybody use this eProperty Watch? Yeah, so eProperty Watch is nice because what it does, and this is included in your membership, what it does is, let's say you help me find a house, right? Normally in that transaction, after that's done, there's no real communication that takes place. Numbers say that, agents and clients that they help buy a house, usually communication ceases to exist. Well, with eProperty Watch, there's a way for them to hear from you on a continual basis. And it's a communication that makes sense to them. So what it's going to do is going to email your clients on a regular basis, once every 2 weeks, once every 3 months, whatever you set up. And it's going to say, okay, here's an email about the value of your property currently, and also what's going on in your neighborhood. So what that does is it keeps that buyer that you help find a house for in contact with you, so that when the time comes for them to buy another house or sell their house, and they're going to look for an agent, they don't forget about you 3 years, 4 years, 5 years later, right? You're kind of continuing to build that funnel and collaborate and communicate with your client. If you want to get eProperty Watch access, all you have to do is come in here. If you click login at the top, you need to click login if you have one, but if you need to create an account, go to free trial. And then all you have to do is plug in MLS Now as your association that you're working with. And you'll see the pricing on the left-hand side there goes from $29 a month to free, okay? Because you have that including your membership with MLS Now. eProperty Watch is very easy to set up. All you have to do is add clients and their addresses. You can even import them if you have them in some type of Excel file and you want to bring a bunch of contacts in at once. And then once you set up their address and the frequency that you want them to hear from you, eProperty Watch is going to do the rest and just automatically email them. Sort of like an auto email, but this one is about the property that you help them buy or their current property, and then the value of properties around them and what's going on. Okay. So yeah.
That's a paid site.
This is the,
Extra.
no, this is free with your MLS membership. It's included in your MLS membership already. Yep. One of those things too, all these tools might not be a bad idea. I always do this. When you first get access to them and you first set something up, set yourself up as a client with a personal email and just kind of walk through the process and see what it looks like on the agent side, what it looks like on the client side. The next one I want to talk about is HomeSnap. How many of you have HomeSnap downloaded on your phone? Okay, that's not bad. If you're not using HomeSnap, I highly, highly, highly recommend you use HomeSnap. There's a number of different reasons for that. Number one, it is the broker public portal. So when you think about public portals right now, you think of like a Zillow or a Realtor, right? So if I were to click into HomeSnap, it looks like a normal public portal, search portal. A couple big differences though are the information that comes into HomeSnap are coming directly from the MLSs and the brokerages, all right? In Zillow and in Realtor.com, Trulia, any of those other ones, sometimes the data that gets in there is not accurate, right? Even though I know the clients love it, everything you get in HomeSnap is accurate as far as whatever agents are entering, because we are feeding them directly, okay? And they don't sell any ad space or sell any listings out from under you. So if it's your listing, it's going to be your listing. You can connect clients in here so that when you send a listing to a client, you show up as the agent to contact. One of the really nice things about HomeSnap is it's very easy to, if you're on the go, it's designed to be the mobile version of the MLS. If you're on the go, let's say you find a property or somebody sends you something they want to get more information for, or you find something that might fit what you're looking for or a client. If you just pull that address up, there's a text button. So they get a text very easily, boom, they click the icon on their phone and then they're opened up and they can see the property details and the photos for the listing, okay? Which is much, much, much easier and faster than in the MLS, especially if you're talking about email. I mean, you probably know as well as I do, when you get an email or you send an email, it doesn't get communicated back as quickly as when you text. People are always on their phone with their text. So that's one of the nice things about HomeSnap. Just as an example here, let's just do Solon, Ohio here. So if you type in a city, it's going to show you, just like you would in the MLS, what's for sale. Here's all your active pins. You click on a property and you wanted to scroll through the photos or see the sell speed or send a rapid CMA, that's all available. If you're on the mobile device, you'll see there's a text button to share that listing. You're going to get all of the other nice thing about this is when you're on your phone, if you wanted to contact the list agent, you just one touch, you can get their phone number and call them. You're also going to get all of the property history, sales history. And if you're looking to possibly generate leads for yourself, this is the place that is going to get phone numbers and email addresses. In the MLS, there's nowhere where you can actually get a phone number or an email address for a homeowner. So like, let's go back to that Realist tax platform for a second. If you were to run an area search and say, okay, I want to send out mailers or I want to get the property details and try to contact these owners, the best you're going to get is an owner name and address, which is fine. But in HomeSnap, you can do something in here. It's called All Homes. If you see this tab that says All Homes, they have these different heat maps on the left-hand side. One of them is at the top. It's called the likelihood to list. And so what that's going to show you is, based on their algorithm, what they think the likelihood of a property is to list. So you see it color codes all these houses, orange, blue. So let's say we find one in, orange that they say is likely to list. What you can do is click on the property, go to the property card, get the details. And in a lot of cases, well, it's number one, going to tell you, how they determine it's likely to list based on the net equity, the years it's been owned, the listing history. And then down below that, you have the owner, and you're going to get, in this case, email addresses. Sometimes there's phone numbers there. Okay. So that's something that you're never going to get in the MLS. That's unique to HomeSnap. The other two things that I really like about HomeSnap is they have something called walk the property lines. So if you're at a property, it's augmented reality. Like imagine this was the property. With your phone, it will literally draw blue property lines. You can just walk the property lines to that address. And the last thing is it's called HomeSnap because back when they first started, one of the cool things was, and they still have it, is on the mobile app, they have a little camera icon in the top right. And if you click that camera icon, it gives you a frame of a house, and you could take a picture of any house you want, and it'll give you the listing details or the property details, which is really cool. I walk around the neighborhood just like snapping pictures. My wife thinks I'm a creeper, but it's okay. I like to figure out what's going on with houses. Are they off market? What's the listing history, etc. So yeah, that's HomeSnap. Now there's 3 versions of HomeSnap, just so you know. You have regular HomeSnap. That's what your consumer or your client sees. Like if you were to text a listing to me, if I was your client, I would just be able to see it in regular old HomeSnap. You would show up as my agent to contact. I wouldn't get any of the confidential like supplements or anything like that. The next version is HomeSnap Pro. HomeSnap Pro is what you have as a member of the MLS. So if you don't have HomeSnap downloaded, if you download it and it says, are you a customer or are you a real estate agent? Click, I'm a real estate agent, add us as your association and confirm your identity. And then you'll have a HomeSnap Pro account. With HomeSnap Pro, you get those heat maps I showed you. You get the listing agent information. You get the confidential, broker remarks, supplements, all that kind of stuff. And then the last version is HomeSnap Pro Plus, and that's actually an upgraded version. I believe it's, what is it? It's $200 off. So it's something like maybe $400 a year. Trying to see. Yeah, $400 a year right now. You get a Google business profile. You get boosted on homes.com. You can have a custom website with home search. And then there's also pieces where you can advertise your listings on like Facebook and Google and stuff. I'm not really here to upsell you on that. Just want to let you know, what your options are with HomeSnap. Any questions on HomeSnap?
So HomeSnap is for the customer, and HomeSnap Pro is for the client.
Yeah. I would think of it as just HomeSnap in general is a nice tool to share and communicate about properties.
So that client would have to have that app for you to communicate.
No, actually, if you're out, so let's say your client's never heard of HomeSnap in their life, okay? But you want to text them a listing that you think is good for them. You can text it to them, and then on their phone, it'll be just like somebody texts you a website, you know, you click on the website, it opens up, it would open up that property in HomeSnap for them. They wouldn't see any of the supplements or like broker remarks or anything that's confidential, but they would get the listing details. They could scroll through the photos, you know, even if they've never heard of HomeSnap in their life, it will still open up in HomeSnap, just like any other website you send to somebody. Yeah.
I really like using it when I'm out on showings, because you can also download like the property disclosures and stuff and the supplements from the app. So like if we're at a house and looking at something, I always use HomeSnap for that.
That's actually a great point, because in the MLS, sharing supplements is not so easy. Whereas in HomeSnap, again, if you want to share a supplement or pull it up to look at with the client, it's very easy to just touch it, share it, whatever. So I don't know. I really like what HomeSnap has done. I think that it's very user friendly. It's got a lot of data that you can't find other places, and it has some features that are not offered on other portals. So, and it's including your membership, so you might as well make use of it. I just think just texting listings to somebody, like even if you have somebody who you are sending listings to, or you have an auto email for them and you find something, you know, they might like, I'll find myself finding it in the MLS, typing it into HomeSnap and just texting it to them, just because it feels so much faster and I get instant communication. Okay, let's go back to home visit. I'm not going to talk a lot about that one. That's basically a way to create postcards for yourself. None of it is free. We're partnered with them. The platform is there, but you would go through, and let's say you wanted to send out some mailers or something, right? And you pulled some labels. This is basically a way to build a postcard. You build a template, and then you can choose how many you want and what they would look like. And then you would create that. I'm purposely skipping over Cloud CMA as well. You have so many ways to run CMAs in the system through Realist, through our CMA wizard, quick CMAs, 3-up comparisons. There's a rapid CMA and HomeSnap I just showed you. Cloud CMA definitely has very nice and professional looking reports and CMAs, but it's not free. You get a 14-day trial. And then after that, I don't know what the exact price is, but it's not too cheap. So I'll just kind of skip over it. But if you want to go that route, you certainly can. I don't know what that is a month. I don't think it's very cheap though. I think it's a pretty decent amount. Maybe like $500 for the year or something, I'm guessing. Okay. Next one I want to talk about is actually this new construction. Does anybody use this new Home Source Professional for new construction? Okay, good. Yeah, I like this one as well, because sometimes what you'll find, especially in the market we've been in the last 2 years, you may work with the buyer for a while and things are going quick. They can't find anything. What they do like goes faster than they could get. And so sometimes after 6 months or 8 months or whatever, you may have somebody who just decides, maybe we'll just go with a new build or a new home route. Well, not all of those are going to be in the MLS. You know, it's not always the case that a Pulte or a Ryan Homes, you know, works with an agent right away and gets those listed in the MLS. It may come here first. And so this is a way where you can run a search and find, I'm thinking of, for example, there's in Willoughby, there's a Pulte Chagrin Mill Farms. There's a new development that went up there. And we knew about those for a good couple of months before it finally got listed in the MLS. So this is a way to come in here, run a search for your client, find some things. And just like in the MLS, again, you can save that search for them. You can add clients, you can email them the properties you find, and you can do all of this sort of normal search stuff that you do in the MLS here. So just as an example, let me just type in Willoughby. So we were just talking about that one. Run our search. And here you go. So this one has here's the Chagrin Mill Farms from Pulte. There are I know there's some Ryan Homes close. So you get all of these different ones. It tells you what type of homes, the communities, and you can adjust your search just like you do in the MLS, you know, how far, what area, what zip code, what price range, etc. And then here's that save an email button. And then there's the print report. So it's just a nice way to add more tools to the tool belt in terms of finding what your client's looking for, at least letting them know, hey, we're searching every possible avenue here.
I like that site. I do like that.
Me too. I usually go in here pretty much every day. Do you guys have your realtor.com professional account set up? If not, that might be a good idea to do as well. So you'll just come in here. There is a dashboard where you create your account, and then you'll have, what's called a realtor.com professional account, so that when you run a search in there, you get, a little more information about properties that you'll find than just on realtor.com. Not a bad idea. And again, something that's included in your membership to add that. So those are always good things to add. Property panorama. This one is just the virtual tour that happens with your listing. So if you've ever entered a listing and you enter at least 3 photos, Property Panorama creates a virtual tour, which is really nothing more than, a slideshow of your pictures, which is fine. But that's what that is. If you guys use any like Matterport, or you have, I know some agents that have even just taken a YouTube video themselves, like a drone footage overhead, and then maybe a YouTube video walking through the house. They've taken that link and uploaded it as their virtual tour in the MLS. So that would override, if you wanted it to, the Property Panorama link. But that's what that is. Rate plug, are you guys working with lenders? How does that, I don't know how that works in your office, but does each agent have individual lenders you guys work with, or? Okay. So if there's somebody that you're working with, or a number of people, what you can do is you can come into this rate plug here and you can add that lender. Okay. And so if I click this button that says invite additional loan officers, this is very easy. Actually, when you first come in here, I think it wants your license number or NERDS number, or I forget what it is. And then you come in here and you say, okay, here's the loan officer or the lender that I want to work with, right? You add them. That's all free for you. What happens is Rate Plug reaches out to that loan officer and it says, do you want to be a partner with Rate Plug and this agent? Okay. And then the loan officer pays for that on their end because they're getting a lot of advertising. What'll happen is every time you send a listing to somebody and they open it up in that one home portal, when they click on like the lending information or the cost of the house breakdown, they're going to see your lender, your loan officer that you're partnered with. Okay. So that's what Rate Plug's all about. So definitely doesn't hurt to add 1, 2, however, I think if you can add up to 3 loan officers or lenders in here. Let me just real quick show you what that actually looks like. Are you guys familiar with One Home? Okay. So while I show you this, I guess it's a good time to just kind of talk about One Home for a second. One Home is your client portal. So when you send the listings to a client through the MLS, they get an email, and what they do is they open it up inside of this One Home client portal. So as an example, what we were just talking about with that lender, let's say you've sent your client some listings. So you sent your client this listing here, right? They click on it. They like this listing. They want to maybe request a tour or add a note, and they actually want to do a breakdown of their monthly cost to kind of get a feel for how much it's going to cost them and potentially reach out to lenders. Well, what you'll see is at the bottom, under the lender details, that is going to be whatever loan officer or lender that you've added for yourself. Okay. So for my account here, this is somebody who actually works at Rate Plug, Jeff Springer. Nice picture holding a banana. But that would be your lender. Yeah.
Is this One Home an app as well inside?
So One Home doesn't have an app. No, it's actually, One Home is its entirely separate own entity. It's its own portal. What happens is, let's just for a second pretend that I was your client and I was looking for houses in like Solon, right? When you find those in the MLS, or you set me up for an auto email and you email me those listings, me as your client, I get the email. And when I click on the properties, it opens up One Home. So this is entirely for your client. This is everything that you're seeing now, this One Home portal. This is what your client sees when you email them listings. Yeah. Yep. So, for instance, like, I don't know if you can see in the bottom right, it has like a little photo of me, right? It's got my property detail or my personal information. So for you, when you email listings to a client, that's what they're going to see, information about you. If you don't upload a photo for yourself, it's going to be your initials and your personal and company information. You can upload a website, a YouTube video. Let me actually show you real quick how to adjust that. If you're logged into the MLS, up in the top right-hand corner where it says your name, if you click on that and go to settings, there's a My Information tab. So top right corner, your name, settings, my information. And then you can adjust some of your information here. One of those things you can adjust is called the one home. And now you can see, here's that photo that you saw of me, right? So you can either say no photo, you can change that photo, and then you can change your information that you saw displayed there. So every time you email a listing, every time you email a listing, that's what your client is seeing.
All this time, I have photos.
One other note about one home, if you want your client to be able to like favorite listings in here or make notes or request tours, they have to create an account. Okay. If they don't create an account, the only thing they'll be able to do is just look at the properties, which is fine. Maybe that's all you guys care about. But if they come in here and they're like, oh, I like this one, I want to favorite it, right? If they don't create an account, they can't do that. Now, if you want to be set up to be notified right away when one of your clients favorites something, if we go back to the MLS for a second, and we go back to that same top right, your name and settings section. So your name, top right, settings, and we go to, there's a section called portal notification settings. So top right, your name, settings, portal notification settings, this one right here, little bell. Yep. So what you're doing here is you can say, okay, every time I have a client who saves a favorite or visits their portal or adds a note, anything like that, I want to be notified right away by way of email or text, or I want to be notified at the end of the day, a daily summary, right? Being notified right away by way of text is nice because you've got a client in real time who's like, ooh, I like this one, boom. And then as soon as they do that, you're following up, hey, I saw you favored this property, want to set up a showing, whatever, just kind of staying on top of things. Yeah, very nice. What else do I want to show you in one home? Once they create their own account, they can set up their own search, which I think they like playing around with. So, they got here from you, you sent them some listings, here's some listings you sent them, but they're like, you know what, actually, I want to set up my own search parameters, right? So they come in here, they click new search, they can enter their area or zip or neighborhood or whatever. And then, what type of house is it? What price range, beds, etc., all that stuff. And if they set up their own search, you can actually see that they did that back in the MLS. You can see what criteria they use. You can see their results. You can see all of that stuff. And that's all done under the My Matrix and contacts. So back in the MLS now as an agent, if I go to My Matrix and contacts, so My Matrix contacts, you can see for my contacts in here, which one of them have auto emails, which one of them have favorites. If I scroll over, whoops. Trying to get over, I'm just going to click on somebody. So when I click on a contact, you can see if they have any favorites, it'll show over on the right-hand side. If they have any one home searches, see there says one home searches right there. That's set up. Let me find somebody who has some stuff. There's one. That one's got 10 favorites, 2. Somebody's got a one home search set up, I know. Making me look bad. Maybe not. Well, anyways, you can see the tab that says one home searches. So if I clicked on that, if they had set up a one home search, oh yeah, there it is. It would show in here. You could click on it, see what their results were and what their criteria was for that. And then in that contact as well, if they have any favorites or notes, that's going to show up over on the right-hand side there. And there is something in there called property fit and planner. So let me just go back to one home for a second. So in the one home portal, when you initially set up your account, one home asks you some questions, a series of questions like, I'm looking for something new. I'm looking for an open concept, closed. I need a lot of yard. I don't need, right? So what they do is they take your answers and they give you what's called a property fit. Okay. So you can see what your client has answered for their property fit score. So you can kind of get a feel for what they're looking for, because they might tell you one thing and then when they answer questions, maybe it's something different. Just more information is better. And then these little percentages that you see in one home right here, that's the match to your client's answers. So we're saying, hey, this property is a 67% match based on what they said they were looking for, right? That's what that property fit score is. The other thing is that you saw was that planner. So this planner button, A client can come in here and go through both on the buying side and the selling side. It's just really a series of questions. For instance, they're saying on the buying side, know what you can afford. Start working on figuring out what you can borrow, understanding the cost of ownership, asking about buying costs. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, click through. So if they go through that planner, you can see on your end as well if they've gone through that section. Not much more to it than that. Any questions on one home? Okay. Let's go back to the dashboard for a second, just make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, do you guys have your super e-key set up? Yeah.
So I tried to go on the website, but it didn't understand how to sign up.
Okay. So if you want to get super e-key access, what you have to do is it's actually best to go through the system. All right. Go to the links tab at the top. Yep. On the left-hand side, kind of towards the top, you're going to see super e-key sign up. Is this a touch screen? Oh, that would be nice. I was about to throw this thing off to the side. Super e-key sign up. It's going to have your information filled out. And then down below, you're just going to give yourself a PIN. So this will be the 4-digit number that you use every time to open a box. The links tab at the top, if you're logged into the MLS. And then on the left-hand side towards the top, you see the Supra sign up button. Okay. So you're going to give yourself a 4-digit PIN. So 1, 2, 3, 4, click submit. Very important on the next page, you have to sign electronically on this next page it takes you to. So this is the agreement page that you have to agree to. You sign this. And then here's what happens when you're done with that. You're going to get emailed an authorization code. Okay. You have to download the Supra app on your phone. So go to your app store and download Supra e-key. Okay. And then Supra e-key. Yep. Yep. Supra e-key app on your phone. And then you plug in the authorization code that you're emailed, and that's how you activate your account. And that's all included in your MLS membership. So there's no cost to you. It's all rolled up in your dues. So what that does for you is if you have a showing this weekend and they have a Supra box on it, now you have access to that property for that showing. We get a lot of calls. We'll come in the office Monday morning and we have a number of voicemails. I was at a showing this weekend. I couldn't get in the Supra. It's because they didn't go through this process. So you never know what showing you have that they're going to have this on. So it's better to just have it. Even if you don't use it for a long time, you're all squared away, taken care of. Yeah. There you go.
So you said once we sign it, they'll send us an email, and then what happens?
What happens after that? The second email that you get from the first one is, hey, thanks for, here's your authorization. Here's your agreement. The second email will have the authorization code. You have to take that authorization code and actually plug it into the app where it asks to activate the account. You won't get emailed right away. It's a manual process in the MLS on the back end. Somebody in the office has to generate that for you. So give it a little bit of time. I believe it says that it will take a business day or two.
And you have to put it on the app that's on your phone.
Correct.
Okay, I put the app, because I've done this and I've called freaking out to, and you're like, oh my God, I can't get it.
Yeah.
So that's.
Yeah. If you've signed up, just be patient. Somebody will email you an authorization code. And if you don't get one by the end of the day, call the MLS and say, hey, here's my name. I requested an e-key. I signed. I need an authorization code. And we can even give you one over the phone to activate your account. Oh, there you go. See, they're on top of it over there.
Is it a document ID I'm looking for, or is it?
It's an actual authorization code.
Maybe this is not the right one.
No, yeah, you're looking for one that will say, it's like a 10-digit code that you plug into the app.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is, but if you're in an area where it's a bad signal, like I find like my phone is not working in Cleveland Heights. Something about Cleveland Heights, cell service is terrible. If it's an iBox on Cleveland Heights and I don't have a signal, then I can't get the key out.
Yeah.
So then how do you figure it out? You don't. You call the agent. You freak out, and you're like, standing there, or it's like a house. And I've had to call the agent, like, can you come back and let me in? I had the owner come back and let me in, because I can't get in.
Mhm.
So,
They can't unlock it from their phone, like you have to be there.
yeah, they have to be there, because it's, unless they have a lock on it, too.
Yeah.
They have a, lock on the door. You have T-Mobile. I have AT&T. Okay, but it's certain areas, and even in Akron, it's just, sometimes, and then when it's cold outside, the boxes are temperamental, so, yeah.
Yeah, we get a lot of calls. Agents are panicked on the phone. They've got their client in the car. They can't get in,
I've been one of them people.
Yeah.
Because then I don't use it often, I'm like, I don't know my code.
Yeah.
Call, I'm like, what's my code? Like,
The good and bad of technology.
yeah.
Okay. So let's see what else here. I want to go close this down. Let's go back to the dashboard, see if we missed anything. Rental Beast, do you guys have any rentals that you ever list? So Rental Beast as of today, actually, yeah. So what Rental Beast is going to be the new platform for entering listings and searching for listings that are rentals. So you will no longer do that through that normal rental search field. You'll go through Rental Beast. I actually have not been in. I kind of want to see.
I have one coming up, so.
So search. Actually, let me see what happens if I click on Rental Beast. Ha, that's not a good start.
I'm sorry.
Never a good start. Here we go. Rentals. Let's see. Maybe. All right.
Oh, it's just there.
Yeah, and I'm already logged in. So I am a broker, agent, renter. Okay, interesting. An agent. Build your sales. Okay. So I'll have to play with this and get used to it. This, like I said, this just launched today. But it looks like you can, find an apartment.
So it's gonna have more listings there than just on the MLS.
Well, I think that's the idea. Yeah, the thing is with Rental Beast is it's going to be a lot like any other one of these member services where you've got your base and then you have if you want to pay X amount, then you get these features added on top. So what that all looks like and what areas are covered and all of that good stuff. I'm not, like I said, this just came out today. So I have to educate myself, get in here and play around and learn as well. This is all very new, even for me. So
So I can't click on, I tried to click on rental beats and it didn't, I got the same error,
mhm,
but in my search,
mhm.
taking rentals off already.
Yeah, I think they have down low, they have the rental detail, the historical.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, but I think from this point forward, like these are going to be phased out and then
Yeah.
it'll just be the Rental Beast.
So I can't go on rental beats.
Yeah.
I work it.
Okay. All right, let's talk a little bit about in the MLS, just a couple more things here. Number one, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the MLS areas, this section right here, these are going away December 31st. Okay, so if you have searches set up currently, I would change them. If you have auto email set up that you're using MLS areas as your criteria, I would change that because it will definitely negatively impact your searches when the new year hits. Okay. What we're recommending is obviously you can use county, city, school district. It takes a little more effort, but what I like to do really is to use more of the drawing tools. You just get a better search because yes, clients will call you and say, hey, I'm looking in this school district. Yes, I'm looking in this city. Sure. But a lot of times it's not quite that clean. A lot of times you'll have somebody who says, I'm looking for something within
10 miles.
right, around a school or whatever. Or you have investors who will say, I'm looking north of this highway, south of this road, west of this. Or you have people who say, I'm looking something that's around a body of water, but I don't want to be close to a highway. So you get all these different variations and it's hard to choose search options that fit that. So just getting better with the drawing tools. For instance, like this freehand one, right? This little pen looking one. So if I click on that and I just click, hold and drag, I can start to draw on the map, right? So if you have somebody who has a very specific area, like we talked about that investor who wants to be north of this highway and west of this, east of this, right? You can use this drawing tool to draw a very specific area. It's definitely easier with a mouse, but that's okay. The other thing you can do is, like we talked about, you have somebody who says, I don't live next to a highway. It's loud, it's noisy, it's not safe, it's whatever. So they don't want to live next to a highway. So what you can do is you can come back to your drawing tool and you can say, okay, everything around this Route 80 here, if it's anything close to the highway, I'm going to draw a little shape and encompass that. Just pretend like that's a perfect circle and close that off. And you're going to say, okay, you know what? Exclude this shape. And now any listings that are, butted up against that highway, the system is going to remove. You can include as many shapes as you want. For instance, you have, brothers or sisters or siblings or two investors, whatever, in different areas. And they say, hey, we can find stuff here and we can find stuff here. So you can have your one area drawn and then you can zoom out and then we'll use the radius tool this time, the circle looking one. And we'll say click, hold, and drag. And we're also good looking up here. So now you get listings in two different areas. Okay. We talked about the radius search one for a 10-mile radius around a high school or something. You maybe have kids that go to a certain school district. So you could do, let's delete this. You could do something like, for instance, my daughters go to West Geauga, right? So I'm going to say, there's a little jump to address button up there. I'm going to type in West Geauga High School. It automatically pins the place for me. And then I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There's my pin. I'm going to just start my radius search right under my pin and drag out. And we'll just say 5 miles just for example's sake. So 5 miles. Now, what's interesting about that and why I'm trying to show you to use these drawing tools and get better with them is because if I were to look at what school districts and cities that search encompassed, let's bring some layers into it. Let's show you the city layers. And you can see we're in Chesterland, Russell, Mayfield. And if I look at the school district layer, we are in Newberry School District, West G, a little bit in Chagrin Falls, a little bit in Mayfield, and almost into Kirtland. So, if we were just put in a straight West Geauga School District search, we would have missed, all these listings right here, these ones, right? So that's why just using the drawing tools, you get a little finer search and you can give people what they're looking for maybe a little better than just saying, okay, you want this zip code, you want this city, you want this area or whatever. Okay. What else about search here?
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Because it's very difficult to find Cleveland. Because I know in like suburbs,
Mhm.
but Cleveland is broken up in so many different ways.
Definitely.
Could you show me a easy way?
The drawing tool is going to be that would be my go-to. So when you say it's broken up, like, I don't know let me show you, for example,
So
like,
I have a client who's looking for the west side of Cleveland.
okay, what I would do, and I don't know exactly what, west side of Cleveland, what you mean by that in terms of like exactly where, but I would take my drawing tool and I would just very specifically start drawing, from wherever they wanted and just include all of that and nothing they didn't and close it off. And what's nice about these drawing tools is not only can you do, we talked about the multiple shapes, you'll sometimes have people who will say, okay, I want to live in west side of Cleveland, but I don't want to live on anywhere on these 4 streets or anything. I want to live either here or here and nothing here. You're not going to be able to do that with the search tools, the picking. You have to use your drawing tools and get good at coming in here and creating those yourself.
So after you draw that, then what do you get criteria after that?
So once I draw it, I have my results. I've got 23 properties. That's what all those pins are. So yeah, now I'm just going to go to my results.
Okay.
And now I'm looking at my 23 properties. Now, all we've done was draw on the map. If I wanted to put more criteria to it, then yes, I would go to my criteria. See, it says map area selected. So I have my area drawn, right? So let me just go back again, map. There's my map area drawn. But now I want to tell the system, okay, within that area, I'm looking at things, between 2 and 250. I'm looking for 3 bedrooms. I'm looking for et cetera. Okay. The other thing that gets very underutilized in terms of search, in my opinion, is this broker and public remarks section right here. Okay. So there are a lot of things that listing agents will type in their public remarks about the property or in the broker remarks about showing instructions or back taxes, or it's a handyman special, or it's an investor, whatever. You won't always be able to find that stuff using those search boxes. So you can come in here and say, just as an example, like handyman special, right? Fixer upper. Come in here and type those remarks into the public and broker remarks, and you can find all the listings where the listing agent said in their remarks, this is such and such, the handyman special. Or you have somebody who's looking for something with tenants inside. So there are, tenants on a month-to-month lease. Tenant pays $9.50 a month. Tenant occupied, whatever. So you're only going to find those if you type in here the exact words that somebody may have entered as a list agent. So that's what your search is doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about with searches?
So what you did for that map was all you did was you press that map up there?
Yep. Just go to map.
Jerusalem.
That's right. Easy. Yep. You have different drawing tools. So you have the freehand one. For the freehand one, you click, hold your click down, and just start to drag. Yep. And for your other ones, like this radius and rectangle, you click, hold it down, and then as you drag, you'll see it just draws that perfect radius for you. The only one that's different is this little odd looking draw polygon one. This one you have to click, let go, and then click, let go. Yes. Click, let go, click, let go, click, let go. Once you play with them a couple times, you'll get good at it. Yeah. But we got here because ultimately what I was trying to show you is, and big picture, those MLS areas are going away. So any searches that you have, if you're used to using those, especially you were talking about Cleveland is broken up into a lot of different parts. That's one of the reasons that MLS areas was created, because Cleveland was so broken up. So they tried to give them areas, but especially with those going away, now you're going to want to figure out how to create good drawing tools. There is one last feature I guess I'll show you. So there's a button that says clear all shapes. This little 3-layer icon here, if I go to, let's say townships, there's a button called townships down here. It will draw township lines for me. And then what I can do is click inside of that and have it highlight that whole area for me. Same thing with, let's say neighborhood. See this neighborhood one? It's going to draw these purple boundary lines. And then, okay, so let's just talk about Cleveland for a second. So they have everything in purple here. They have this labeled as downtown. It's a neighborhood. So if I wanted to highlight that only, I click this little Mario looking glove and then just click inside of that town, that neighborhood. And now I'm only looking at what they've considered downtown Cleveland. So you can do that as well. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That actually really helps, like the university circles and nice series.
Obviously, I think you know how to, once you get your results, you're familiar with how to send these. You're also familiar with how to set up an auto email. Okay, so let's say this was the search that I wanted. I'm your client and I said, okay, I'm looking in downtown Cleveland, this price range, etc. And you set up this search. So if you just send me these listings, that's great. But what happens if something hits the market tomorrow, right? So an auto email sets up so that any listing that comes on the market in the future that meets the criteria you set up is going to automatically email to your client. Yeah, so at the very bottom of this page, just click save. So you're looking at your results, you're going to go to save, and then there's a button that says new auto email. Just that simple. And then all you have to do is assign it to a contact, give it its title, tell the system how often you want it to go out. So daily, ASAP, or monthly, and then save it. And then to check on your auto emails under My Matrix auto emails. So My Matrix auto emails, you have all your auto emails set up in here. You can see the status of it, if it's active, if the client disabled it, if you need to resend a welcome, if you need to adjust your criteria, or if you want to look at the results, all that stuff is done in here.
So I also have mine set up to where whenever emails go out,
Mhm.
it comes to me.
Yeah, BCC. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're setting up the auto email, there's a button that says BCC me a copy of all emails. You can check that. Yep.
It's not what they get, so I know what comes out to them.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, did you see that house tonight?
That's funny. Okay. What else do you guys want to see or talk about? I don't want to go over, but I want to make sure you guys get what you need here. So just general questions.
How do you pull, because I used to know this. You can pull like a market update
Uh-huh.
to show like how many months worth of inventory is currently on the market.
Yeah.
How the market is showing that.
So when you're logged in the system, under external links, so the one where it has like your name highlighted in yellow, we have a link here called Market Area Trends Teradatum. Market Area Trends Teradatum.
You go backwards one more time.
Yep. So it's under the external links where your name is highlighted in yellow. We're on the main screen when you log in, right? Home screen of the database. Well, yours might be somewhere else. These widgets are customizable. Like I can move these. So yours might be somewhere else, but it's the external links widget, the one with your name highlighted in yellow. Okay. And then the link is Market Area Trends Teradatum. Okay. And so it gives you a number of reports. One of those is that you were asking about is the month's supply. So this shows us basically based on the current inventory in the system, how many months it would take for that supply to sell off.
Can you change the area for this?
Yes. See the little funnel at the top, little white funnel looking icon? If I click that, I can change the area. I can drill down on a city, a county, a zip, and I can change the time frame and the property type.
So there used to be a way, not that it would give it to me in a graph form.
Yeah, if you click the little table looking icon, top right, you see that?
Yeah.
Now scroll down, it's going to create this Excel looking table for you where I can see, okay, here's the month supply. And
Wait a minute, what did you just click, did she click on?
up above the, yep.
Okay.
Some really interesting data in here too. Like 3 years ago, the average listing was on the market for 73 days and today it's 31. It's pretty crazy, actually.
So without funneling down, this just tells you the health of the market for the entire MLS.
Yes.
Now,
And if,
includes Ohio. West Virginia.
yeah, a couple counties in West Virginia. Yep. Yeah, if you want to drill down, you just want to see Cleveland Heights, Solon, Mayfield Heights, whatever, then yeah, you'll come in here, choose your cities. You can type in whatever cities you want or zips or zip subdivisions, etc.
Okay.
Yep.
This is good, 'cause I've been wanting to do like market updates.
Yeah.
Like, how do I find that information?
And then you can even, if you click the little cloud with the arrow pointing down here, you can have it download, so it creates a nice looking PDF that you can email or print and save. Yeah. So that's what these are.
This is worth the price of admission.
Wait, I was supposed to get paid for this?
Well, not by me.
Okay, what else do you guys want to see? We also have, now that you're talking about stats, we have a stats tab. We can come in here and say, okay, I want to see any one of these stats. For instance, I don't know, in Cuyahoga County. So I'm just going to type in Cuyahoga County. I want to see the sale price average. And I want to see that over the last, I don't know, 5 years. So you generate it, and then you can see over the past 5 years, it broken down by month, the sale price average. So back in June of 2017, the average price of a home in Cuyahoga County was 170. Today it's 239. So that's another, you can export that data as well if you wanted to create a report or whatever. So. I left a, I'll just pass out. If you guys ever need anything, We are 8:30 to 5. We can help you run any report, pull anything you want, do screen shares. Yep. Anything else you want to see before I get out of here? Well, I'm glad.
I can't remember how to do it, and somebody did it before, and they went to a different route, so this was much easier than the route they took. They went, and they printed out some, it had like boxes across, and tell you how many houses you were on, and they did it through the MLS, but I don't remember how she did it.
I don't, that sounds like maybe they just ran a normal search and plugged in the criteria, because you can do that too. You know, you can come in here for yourself, for another agent, for an office. You can come in and run a search and you can say, okay, I want to see for this year how many sales I've had, my office has had, this agent has had. So I come in here to search. We'll choose cross property. The only status I'm going to check is, let's say, sold. And I want to see from January 1st of this year on. So I'm going to do 1/1/22 and a plus symbol. So that's January 1st of this year on. And I scroll down and I'll type in either an agent number here or maybe an office number. Do you guys know your office ID? I'll find it. This is Keller Williams, right? Let's try this. Let's run that search. Oh my goodness, so many. What was I thinking? Keller Williams.
We're KW living, we're not spelled.
Oh, it's not spelled out. Oh, here you go. 9181. You were right. Okay. So you guys have 703 sales this year. You were either on the list side for or the sell side. And so what you can do is come in here. There's a stats tabular button at the bottom. And you say stats. Oh, where is my? Gotta shrink my screen. Give me 1 second. Shrink. Let's try this again. Stats. Tabular. This might be what you were talking about. It gives you the total. So 703 properties, min, max, average, list price, sold price, days on market, etc. So I don't know if that's one, but that's another way to get. So you can do that for agent, office, whatever.
And that's, so that report is good for new agents who don't have a lot under their belt and they're going off the success of the market, of the office to get new clients.
Yeah.
That's a good report. So thanks. Okay, I appreciate it. I remember being new, so I had to go off of the stats of the office.
Yeah, that's
So
funny.
a good way to find, the stats of the office. Okay. I appreciate you.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting me come in. Yeah. Good luck to everybody. Make lots of money.
Right.